This class is meant for mainly the first year PGTs and second year PGTs. The topics covered in this presentation are the epidemiology, agent, vector, host dynamics, clinical presentations, the different disease classifications, the laboratory diagnosis, expanded dengue syndrome, and a few words about neonatal dengue. Dengue is the among the list. It is in the list of 17 neglected tropical diseases as per WHO report. It is the most rapidly spreading mosquito-borne viral disease, as it is an arthropod mediated spread. So it is also a arbovirus. For last 5 decades, WHO has noticed that the incidence load of dengue has increased almost 30-fold, and around 50 to 100 million people per year globally are affected with clinical disease. Among them, about 5 lakh people, they require hospitalization for treatment. Southeastern Asia, as you can see, is one of the most affected zone, among which India contributes around 20% of the cases. The first outbreak in Kolkata was noticed in 1963. There is a specific seasonal trend, as you know, that temperature around 25 degrees Celsius and humidity around 80%, along with up to 1,000 meter height from seashore. It ensures the growth of the vectors as well as the multiplication of the viruses. So during the monsoon and post-monsoon season, there is a high spike of dengue cases in India. From around May, June, it spikes, and around December, the cases gradually decreases. The dengue virus, it belongs to flavivirus. Other flavivirus, they are mainly neurotrophic viruses causing encephalitis, but this virus is a little bit different, and features are quite similar to the other viruses that cause hemorrhagic viral fevers. If you see the structure of dengue virus, it's a single-stranded RNA virus, and 3 structural polypeptides are there. One is the capsid, another is the membrane, another is the envelope. The function of these structural polypeptides is that they ensure the structural integrity once the viral enters into the host body. There are 7 non-structural proteins, among which NS1 has some role. The function of other non-structural proteins, it is yet to be determined. NS1 specifically, it has been seen that it interacts with the host T lymphocytes and induces the cytokine reflexes. Also, it interacts with the platelet and endothelium and causes some antibody mediated reaction that is responsible for capillary permeability. There are 4 serotypes, as you know, 1, 2, 3, and 4, among which 3 and 4 they causes severe manifestations and special predilection towards the CNS. So one question we frequently encounter is that, do one strain give cross protection to others? No, it does not. Even the single strain of dengue virus, suppose dengue virus 1, if it affects a person, the immunity can be lifelong, or it can wane off after some months or some years, and again the person can have the infection with the same strain also. It depends upon the host immune status. Aedes mosquito, the female Aedes mosquito is the main vector in all over the world, among which Aedes aegypti is the main vector in India. Also, Aedes albopictus is the emerging vector, and it also causes the spread of the virus in sub-Saharan countries and also Southeastern Asia. Now, the vectors, they have a very short lifespan. Aedes aegypti, the lifespan is 1 month, and Aedes albopictus, the lifespan is 2 months. And they usually flies within a 400-meter radius. Also, these mosquitoes, if they are destroyed, then the spread is also restricted. So vector control is the mainstream of management in case of dengue epidemic control. There are, if you see the transmission cycle, you can see that first the wild Aedes aegypti, it bites an infected person. The mosquito gets infected, and inside the mosquito's body, the virus it thrives. It takes around 8 to 10 days to complete the incubation phase, and this is known as the extrinsic incubation period. That is outside human body. So extrinsic incubation period. Then this infected mosquito, if bites another human, a healthy human, then the person is infected, and inside the person's body, the virus again thrives and multiplicates, causes disease. This takes at around 4 to 13 days, and it is known as the intrinsic incubation period. There are certain host factors, as you know, that humans are the primary reservoir of the disease. Extreme of age, existing anti-dengue antibody, secondary infections, simultaneously circulating 2 or more serotypes in the community, and certain comorbidities. Also, virus strains, it has been seen that entomologists, they have reported that certain viral strains, the genomic structure of the viruses, they have caused severe disease in some epidemics. So, as we say in our institute, Shota dengue and Mota dengue. These are the most dangerous dengues, and we have to be very cautious regarding management and monitoring of these patients. Now, inside the human cell, the virus, they thrives inside the cytoplasm, and there they matures and generates more and more mature virion, which again infect the subsequent cells. The spectrum of clinical manifestations, it is a bit varied. It starts from undifferentiated fever, classic dengue fever, and goes up to the severe forms like dengue hemorrhagic fever and dengue shock syndrome. Around 50% of patients who acquire the dengue infection, they are asymptomatic, and other 50%, they belong to this spectrum of clinical manifestations. The main factors that determine the disease severity are the age of the host, the immune status of the host, the virus strain, and it also depends upon whether the infection is a primary infection or a secondary infection. As you know that secondary infection is a more severe one, as already the immune system has been immune regulated. So undifferentiated dengue fever, it is like all other normal viral fevers. It is very difficult to distinguish them from any other upper respiratory tract or lower respiratory tract infections. And even it is usually detected incidentally when you go for a testing. Rash may or may not be present, and bleeding plasma leakage usually are not present. These are some classical rashes that are present in some dengue patients. So now the classic dengue fever. I will take some time during discussion of this slide, because classic dengue fever, there are 3 stages. One is the febrile stage, one is the critical phase, another is the recovery phase. So what happens in the febrile phase? If you can see here, the temperature, it usually lasts for first 3 or 4 days of the disease. High spikes will be there, 100, 300, 4 degree Fahrenheit. Even after giving paracetamol, the fever will last and will remit after some time, and again it will come. There might be some dehydration. If you do some laboratory changes, hematocrit will be normal. There you can find leukopenia in this stage. Serology and virology, this is the viremic stage, as the active viral replication is going on in this stage. So you can get the serological reports positive. But here, as you can see, the IgM, IgG has not appeared. So the antibody and antigen mediated test, the antibody mediated test, they will come negative. Then the patient will gradually progress to the critical phase. The critical phase, the main problems occur in this critical phase. Once the temperature comes down, you can see here, the temperature comes down, it touches the baseline, patient becomes afebrile, and then comes all the troubles that you will be facing during the management of a dengue fever. Shock, bleeding, organ impairment, all these things, they occur in this critical phase. And in this stage, the platelet gradually falls, the hematocrit rise due to the capillary leak, and gradually the antibodies will come positive in this stage. So our monitoring, management, everything will be depending upon this transition. We have to pick up this transition as early as possible, not by laboratory investigation, but mainly by clinical monitoring. Clinical monitoring is very crucial in this phase, whether the pulse volume is going down, pulse rate is going up, there is any edema or anasarca or any basal crepitus in the chest auscultation. These things will be kept in mind while monitoring in this stage. And most crucial one is the urine output. If the urine output goes below 1 ml per kg per hour, then you will be thinking that the patient is entering into the critical phase. In the recovery phase, as such, the patient becomes more and more stable. Some reabsorption of the fluid that has been leaked into the third spaces will occur. So you have to be cautious in this stage regarding fluid management. If you are giving more fluid than required, then the patient will be fluid overloaded and some problem will be there due to your iatrogenic maneuvers. For the PGTs, tourniquet test is a very important test while describing dengue. Several times it will be in all forms of classification of the disease. You will find that tourniquet test has been mentioned. So you must know what is a tourniquet test. A tourniquet test is nothing but a test which elicits capillary fragility. It is not a very specific one, neither it is a very sensitive one. It is meant for the primary healthcare physicians where your sophisticated tests and other facilities are not available. So the test is done by inflating a blood pressure cuff between a midpoint between the systolic and diastolic pressure, and the pressure would be sustained for 5 minutes, not more than that, because in that case, this will lead to tissue ischemia and severe pain on the part of the patient. The test is considered positive when 10 or more PTG per 1 square inch are observed. In dengue hemorrhagic fever, you can find more than 20 PTG, and it is observed in the antecubital fossa. Mind you, I am repeating again, it is measured in the antecubital fossa. In dengue shock syndrome, however, it might be negative or mildly positive. So now come to the grading or the classification that has been made in several guidebooks. Like WHO in 2012, they have classified dengue according to the dengue with or without warning sign, and another hand they have the severe dengue. So what are the warning signs? You must know the warning signs when you are dealing with a febrile patient during the dengue season. The warning signs are abdominal pain or tenderness, persistent vomiting, clinical fluid accumulation, mucosal bleed, lethargy, restlessness, hepatomegaly, and hematocrit increase or platelet decrease. Now, what are the causes of abdominal pain or tenderness? This question is frequently asked in questions. So for PGTs, I am telling this. The causes of abdominal pain in a dengue patient are most commonly it is due to acute gastritis, and in hypovolemic patient it is due to mesenteric ischemia. Some gallbladder changes or ischemic hepatitis may also give rise to pain, and rarely some form of acute pancreatitis due to complicated dengue or expanded dengue syndrome. It also leads to abdominal pain. So there are 4 causes. Remember this one for your exams. Now, criteria for severe dengue is to know shock, ejaculation, respiratory distress, and alternating liver profiles like transaminitis and impairment of CNS, and myocarditis, and all. So in 2015, National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program, they have classified dengue and they have taken into account all the previous classifications. So if you see this whole slide, it is a bit cumbersome. But to make it easier, you can say one hand there is symptomatic, one hand there is asymptomatic. It is almost 50% of the patients that has been infected by the virus and with mild symptoms that can be managed at home. Moderate dengue, it depends upon high risk and comorbid factors and warning signs. And severe dengue, you know, those patients that are usually treated in tertiary level care and requires PICU admission, dengue hemorrhagic fever, DHF3, DHF4, or DSS. So come to the case definition. National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program, they have given specific case definitions for dengue fever and dengue hemorrhagic fever and dengue shock syndrome. The dengue fever, they have described it. It is not a definition per se, it is a description. An acute febrile illness of 2 to 7 days duration with 2 or more of the following manifestation, among which headache, retroorbital pain, myalgia, arthralgia, rash, and hemorrhagic manifestations will be there. But this definition seldom being applied into the pediatric population, as retroorbital pain, headache, these things they cannot describe as they are little children. Now, dengue hemorrhagic fever, a case with clinical criteria of dengue fever plus hemorrhagic tendencies plus thrombocytopenia plus evidence of plasma leakage, as we document by the drop of baseline hematocrit and signs of plasma leakage. Dengue shock syndrome, all above criteria. Along with that, if there is compensated or decompensated shock like features, then it becomes DSS. This is a bit simplified version. And probable dengue fever and dengue hemorrhagic fever, the case compatible with clinical description that has been given earlier. Along with that, some non-ELISA based NS1 antigen or IgM positivity. Now, RDT, they have already told that RDT is not recommended due to poor sensitivity, due to poor specificity. Also, the reproducibility of the results are very poor in the RDTs. A confirmed dengue fever is compatible with the clinical description of dengue fever with at least one of the following, among which there are specific virological investigations. One is dengue virus culture, which is seldom done because it is bit cumbersome and it takes a lot of time, like 2 to 3 weeks. They will give the result of dengue viral culture. So it is mostly used for epidemiological purposes. Demonstration of IgM antibody titer, demonstration of NS1 ELISA, and IgG seroconversion in paired sera after 2 weeks. Whether there is any fourfold rise in IgG titer or not, that has been seen in confirmed dengue fever. The rise in titer of IgG is specifically important when you are considering a patient who is being discharged with a diagnosis of dengue and comes again after suppose 2 months or 3 months and again having dengue-like feature. In that case, the IgG comes handy. Detection of viral nucleic acid by polymerase chain reaction is another one. Sometimes people get confused whether NS1 ELISA is there or not. It is there. NS1 ELISA is a diagnostic test, and if with clinical description it is positive, then it is a confirmed dengue fever. This is the oldest classification we have in book. For the PGDs, I like to say that you remember it from the bottom above, like in DH shock with undetectable BP, then that is DHF4. If the patient is in compensated shock like circulatory failure, then it is DHF3. If it is less than that, like mild bleeding, abdominal pain, then it comes into DHF2. And DHF1 is nothing but simple dengue fever plus some positive tourniquet test and some form of edema present in the periphery. So, what are the admission criteria in a diagnosed or suspected dengue fever? Significant bleeding from any site, any warning signs as mentioned in the WHO criteria, persistent high-grade fever, impending circulatory failure, neurological abnormalities, drop in temperature, or rapid deterioration in the general condition and shock. So recommended routine investigations are like for any usual febrile patient. But one thing you have to keep in mind that when dengue is circulating in the locality, that in that season also malaria, enteric fever, and other endemic infections, they are also circulating. So always keep an open eye for co-infections because it is quite common to have a patient with dengue and malaria, also dengue and enteric fever. These you will find frequently. So how do you confirm the diagnosis of dengue by laboratory test? For any viral etiology, you have three type of test. One is the serological test, we detect the antigen and the antibody. First, the antigen will come when the viremia is going on. Then the body will develop some antibodies, and you can measure the antibodies. Some coloring agent will be used, and usually ELISA or RIA methods are used for serological testing. Then comes your nucleic acid based test, PCR based test, real time PCR, nucleic acid amplification test. This will give you some result regarding the viral genomic structures. Like RNA, for RNA virus, you diagnose for RNA virus. For DNA virus, you will search for DNA particles. And the last and last thing is the viral culture. Viral culture for clinicians and physicians, it is not that important, but it is important. It is important for your epidemiological purposes. Now, dengue virus NS1 antigen detection, as you know, it is a polypeptide and is secreted from the infected cells. It is an acute infection marker. As the viremia is there, the NS1 antigen will be there, and it will be there prior to the development of IgM, as you can see, and it will be detectable for about 1 to 9 days following symptom onset. The viremia is there, the NS1 antigen you will detect in this phase. But if you do the test very early, the viremia might not be that prominent to give you a certain NS1 level because you are measuring an antigen level. So to get a specific antigen level or to measure it, you have to have some at least a certain level of viremia. So it is recommended that you do NS1 test at least after 48 hours, because after 48 hours you will get the test positive. If you do very early in the phase of fever like day 1 or day 2, you might not get it positive.
Plants.
Then comes your antibody detection. So as we all know that MAC ELISA is the recommended method. MAC comes from your IgM antibody capture, and it will be present after the viremia wanes off and the body gradually develops the antibody levels. The sensitivity and specificity are bit varied for IgM, and it has some flavivirus cross reactivity. Even and it has been seen in some studies that if the patient has been inoculated or vaccinated with Japanese encephalitis vaccine within 2 to 3 weeks, it can give you a false positive result. Although your NS1 will be negative in that case. It has been postulated that if you do IgM test very earlier in the disease course, like between day 3 and day 5 of fever, the chances of getting a positive report is about 50%. And on day 5 onwards, the chances of getting IgM positivity increases, and it varies between a range of 80% and 99%. So it is recommended that you do not do IgM test before day 5, at least day 5 or day 6. It will be useful if you go for an IgM testing. IgG antibodies, it will give you a status of previous infection, and it also has flavivirus cross reactivity. Now, how if you see the severity of the dengue fever, the dengue hemorrhagic fever or dengue shock syndrome, you must know the pathophysiology. We have two kind of immune system, as you know. One is the humoral immunity, one is the cell mediated immunity. In cell mediated immunity, the dengue virus antigens during the viremic phase, they attacks the T cells, and there is specific T cell response, and certain cytokines or other chemical mediators, they are released in the blood. This is in another term known as cytokine tsunami, which you might be hearing these days in comparison with COVID virus. So these cytokines, they causes increased vascular permeability, and vasculopathy and capillary leakage will give you the features of third spacing. In another arm where the humoral immunity has been induced, the antigen antibody reaction will be there, and subsequently there will be complement activation. These complement complexes, they will be deposited on the vessels, endotheliums and platelets mainly, and also some other tissues will be attacked. The anti-NS1 autoantibody is the main mediator in these reactions, and due to these factors, the patient will develop coagulopathy and bleeding, and it will also increase your hypotension or shock-like situation. This new term, expanded dengue syndrome, has not been previously described in the National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program. It encompasses the systemic involvement in a very systematic manner. If you see in the CNS, they have explained that encephalopathy, encephalitis, febrile seizure, intracranial bleed, this will be there. Now, there has been a long debate that whether dengue virus causes encephalopathy or encephalitis. It is very difficult to say because certain things like dyselectrolytemia, cerebral ischemia, and coagulopathy, all these factors, they might lead to encephalopathy. But more and more recent studies, they are proving the fact that even IgM and viral genetic material, they are coming out to be positive in the CSF samples. So now we are in the era where we might believe that dengue is a very neurotropic virus. In GI involvement, you can say that hepatic and gallbladder and CBD pancreas, these all structures will be affected. Renal involvement, acute renal failure, hemolytic uremic syndrome, even acute tubular necrosis can occur in these cases. And AKI in a dengue patient is a very horrible picture. Cardiac arrhythmias, cardiomyopathy, myocarditis, pericardial effusion, these can also occur. In respiratory system, pulmonary edema, ARDS, pulmonary hemorrhage, pleural effusion, these you can find out. So what are the causes of bleeding and what are the causes of thrombocytopenia? The recurrently, usually examiners, they ask these questions in the exam. So this is the exam slide. Please remember this thing. I am not going into the details of the things. Now a few words about dengue in infants. As you know that there is a certain shift in the paradigm, that previously more and more children were affected. Now the paradigm is shifting towards a bit adolescent age group. But dengue in infants, it still remains an enigma, because the patients often presents with URTI-like features like running nose, cough, cold, these things, and also vomiting, diarrhea like GI symptoms or febrile seizure. The natural course of the disease in infants is also very unpredictable. The patient might go into shock or transition phase in day 2, day 3, often difficult to differentiate from bacterial sepsis. Even very low grade or undocumented fever can be there. And it has been documented that most severe forms of dengue infections has been seen in 4 to 9 months of age group in infants. Last but not the least, a few words about the neonatal dengue. Neonatal dengue per se is not the infection of the newborn baby, but usually the vertical transmission of the antibodies that occurs from the mother to the fetus. And usually, if the mother is affected in the recent peripartum period, then the chances of getting this disease is more, because the antibodies, they come directly into the fetus body, and they will give rise to certain features like petechial rash, thrombocytopenia, hepatomegaly, pleural effusion, shock like features, and it is very difficult to differentiate from neonatal sepsis. Luckily, we observed 2 cases in 2017, and 2 cases were reported in an Indian journal. So thank you for your patience. And if you see the WHO manual in 2014, they have mentioned that the mortality from dengue can be reduced to zero by all your maneuvers, managements, and early clinical and laboratory diagnosis. So the stress will be more on clinical and laboratory diagnosis and timely management. The other lab monitoring and management part will be discussed later by none other than our PISO expert, Dr. Prabhas Prashun Giri. So thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Aniruddha, for your excellent presentation. I, Aniruddha, I have one observation
Yes, sir.
regarding the rash in dengue. Hey, happy
Yes,
birthday. Thank you, thank you. Acha, the rash uh, in dengue has a very characteristic pattern.
yes, sir.
Initially, it starts with a measly rash. It is called measly rash, just like flushing attacks. In those cases, if you press your hand, the hand impression is there.
Yes,
And in these initial phases, you can have few petechiae, and that is the
yes,
basis of tourniquet test early in the course of the disease.
yes,
Now the critical stage comes. As the critical stage comes, if the patient enters into a critical stage, then you will have bleeding from the mucous membrane and ecchymosis and other things.
yes.
And then comes the convalescent phase. The convalescent phase is heralded by another type of rash, which is known as island of
Island
white
of
in the sea of
white.
red, and it will be extremely itchy. Once this island of white in the sea of red comes, then you can say that the
We are
child is
safe. We are
going to.
safe.
This is regarding rash, and one observation I have the diagnosis of dengue is very difficult, because in dengue season patients will come to you within a day or two of fever. In a day or two of fever, you are supposed to do an NS1 antigen test. Your IgG, IgM is of no use if you do so early.
Yes,
Moreover, if you see what you have told, IgM has been given importance, IgG has not been given importance, because there should be a fourfold rise between the
yes.
acute and convalescent sera.
So you have to measure twice to know the
Twice.
rise.
So it
Yes,
is no
which is
point
not
in
feasible.
diagnosis,
Yes,
it's a point in epidemiology.
right.
So you are giving more stress on IgM. Now, if now 90% of the children in West Bengal, they have already taken Japanese encephalitis vaccine. So they will all behave like secondary dengue, not
Secondary
primary.
dengue. Hmm.
In secondary dengue, IgM is not, it does not rises that much. This is the IgG rises. So it is very difficult where to place this. What we do when we come across a case of dengue, be it in second day, third day, we usually, instead of doing two tests, one IG, one NS1 antigen at the beginning, and then IgG, IgM after 5 days, we order all the three tests. So I don't know whether we are justified to do it at all. And regarding NS1 antigen, it is an ELISA test, but it does not have an 100%. It has a very high specificity. Other
Hmm.
flavivirus does not influence NS1. But regarding the sensitivity, often you have equivocal results.
Right.
Equivocal result when your antigenemia has not reached that level to be picked up by this NS1. So in during the dengue season, dengue is partially a clinical diagnosis,
Yes.
where you have to have a high index of suspicion, and don't wait or don't try to interpret these tests. Often these tests are a little bit this way and hayward because of this so many factors.
Right. I completely agree with you, sir. The thing is, in management of dengue, I think it is very crucial to wait for some time. You take a case of fever during a dengue season as dengue and
Yes,
monitor it likewise.
yes,
If
that's
you
right.
monitor a patient like a dengue, nothing can go wrong. Even if it is not a dengue patient, at least the monitoring part will be very critical.
Right.
Just
And you wait for some time before sending the reports. You should not
once again,
jump into
Anirudh,
sending NS1 or IgM reports.
Dr.
Anirudh,
Pullo,
just
Japanese
Anirudh,
encephalitis and serology. बोझा क्या लोना? Dengue serology and Japanese encephalitis
Both are
Both are
flavivirus. Both
flavivirus,
are
same.
flavivirus. Not only Japanese encephalitis, also West Nile virus has some similarity, structural similarity between
So what will we get positive? NS1 or IgM?
IgM,
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 not
IgG,
NS1.
they will behave
NS
same.
Okay.
NS1 non-structural protein type 1 is very specific to dengue structure. It
Okay.
is not found in other flavivirus.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
another very important thing is their dengue and chikungunya, they share the same season.
Same season.
And they have these two viruses are hemorrhagic virus, chikungunya, but chikungunya causes arthropathy, dengue causes breakbone fever. Both have extreme pain. And in one, you treat with ibuprofen or analgesics. And in other, if you give analgesic, you will do a havoc. So chikungunya and dengue must be distinguished very carefully. Otherwise, if you treat a chikungunya case as a dengue case as chikungunya and give
chikungunya.
ibuprofen, you will land up in deep trouble.
We are
This
very
is-
lucky. We are very lucky in this regard
This is
because in
particularly seen in Delhi. In Delhi, these
Jaipur,
these two infections occurs more or less in same intensity at the same time.
one thing that I want to comment, Anirudh, that you told that NS1 positivity starts on day 3 onwards. But the recent data telling that in most of the times NS1 positivity comes within 24 hours of time.
yeah,
So
actually
is there-
depends
is
upon
there-
the viremia. It depends upon the
Yes,
viremia.
degree of viremia.
Degree of
But
viremia
viremia
is
is less,
actually
it will-
proportionate to your NS1.
But
So,
usually,
you sh-
usually the thing is that what we have observing for the last couple of years, that few of the patients are going into the leaky phase on day 3 onwards. That only 2 days of fever and they're coming in a shock on day 3. Their febrile phase is lasting so uh, small short period of time. So I would like to do dengue NS1 if not in day 1, better to do on day 2. Do not wait for the day 3, because if you do a dengue NS1 on day 3, so possibly you'll not get the report on day 3, you will get the report on day 4. Ultimately, there are chances
that is a
ultimately
So it
there
is
is a
always better to
that
do
is a
an
very good
NS1 right at the
observation.
beginning rather than doing a IgG, IgM.
yeah, only NS1. There is no
Only
point
as NS1. কিন্তু আমরা তো তিনটে usually we
না
ask
না
for
আমরা
the three.
কোনোদিন আমরা আউটডোর
Don't
থেকে
do.
ইউজুয়ালি NS1 ডে শুধু পাঠাই।
Anirudh, I have one query. Anirudh,
Yes.
just one query. Actually, in our residency, we used to use the NS1 card test. So,
Rapid diagnostic test. No, rapid diagnostic test. It has got very, variable sensitivity
That
and
is banned.
specificity.
That is
Banned,
banned.
banned,
And
এখন banned.
also the results are not reproducible.
না, না, এখন তো
If
it's not
you cannot
available in
cannot
West Bengal.
reproduce a result in a likewise manner, that test is obsolete.
okay,
No,
so
obviously, পাবি না. No laboratory you cannot do. It's against the law of the land.
okay, so that,
You
sir,
cannot
that
do
was for NS1. NS1 card test.
All card tests has been
All
for-
card tests has
card
been
tests
banned,
for dengue
but
has been banned.
sometimes in periphery patients you will get some reports. So you must check whether what is the method they have used in the test, whether it is NS1 ELISA or MAC ELISA. You have to check for the methods they have used.
Okay. And second is just one comment I want to make, because that also may be asked in the exam. That is the newest classification of WHO. That is dengue and severe dengue. That is WHO
Right.
2020. They have come with a new classification that is only dengue and severe dengue. So that may be asked in that. And second is regarding my area of interest, that they can present with anecteric hepatitis. Anecteric hepatitis, that is
Right.
severe rise of enzyme without bilirubin.
Transaminitis.
Ah,
Transaminitis.
transaminitis.
Yeah, rather transaminasthemia is the right term. Sometimes only without hepatitis. Sometimes
Right.
You hardly get jaundice in dengue. You get more than
ঋতুদা
1000 SGPT.
ঋতুদা জাপানিজ এনকেফেলাইটিস ভ্যাকসিনেশনের সঙ্গে কি কোরিলেট করলেন আবার বলুন তো একটু আমি মিস করে
Japanese
গেলাম ওটা
encephalitis is a flavivirus and dengue is a flavivirus. Both are arbovirus. They share the same antigen. So it was once thought that giving vaccine against Japanese encephalitis may give some protection against dengue, but it didn't come to be true.
Oh, acha.
So as they share the same antigen, the antibody. So if you see the sensitivity of any test, antibody is poorest, because antibody they can cross react with so many things.
Okay.
Comes the antigen, and next comes the real virus, PCR based
Real,
test. But unfortunately, in dengue, we don't have any PCR test. The antigen test which we have, it is usually a little bit costly, NS1. And we
NS1,
have
ELISA.
antibody tests, but antibody tests they'll be influenced by so many other things, vaccine, other flavivirus infection. So there lies the problem.
অনিরুদ্ধ চ্যাটে দেখো কিছু কোশ্চেন আছে। অনিরুদ্ধ প্লিজ চ্যাটে দেখো কিছু কোশ্চেন আছে।
ঋতব্রত স্যার, আমার আরেকটা কোশ্চেন আছে আপনাকে, হ্যাপি বার্থডে বলে। স্যার অ্যাকচুয়ালি ওই যেটা ও স্লাইডে ডিসকাস করছিল যে রাইজ অফ আইজিজি অ্যান্টিবডি, দ্যাট অ্যাকচুয়ালি সিগনিফাইজ I mean second infection, because
secondary.
So sir, when you discharge your patient, so do you look after IgG at discharge? That
No,
if they
never.
come back, then...
These are all diagnostic tests. They have no influence on prognosis or other things. The level of antibody does not give any idea. What I want to say, if it is a primary infection, now just first, if it is a primary infection, IgG will first rise. It will persist for some time and continue. If it is a secondary infection, it is the IgM. Sorry, ulto bollam. IgM will rise. Then after there, sometimes IgG will rise and then go away. But if it is a secondary dengue, but importance in diagnosis of dengue is given on IgM. But if it is a secondary dengue, even before the IgM rises, the IgG might rise to a very high level, and the rise of IgM is much less. So
that's why
পেশেন্ট যদি ফিরে আসে, প্রাইমারি ডেঙ্গির পরে পেশেন্ট যদি ফিরে আসে, আইজিজি তো রেজডই থাকবে, মানে আইজিজি ক্যান বি রেজড,
not
the concurrent I am interrupting, sorry, but presence of NS1 along with IgG rise of fourfold, this might help you to it is a reinfection or not.
অনেক সময় লাগবে, that much time.
Acute viremia, it is acute viremia is equivalent with your NS1. Just remember this one and try to diagnose in that manner. Otherwise, it is very difficult to diagnose reinfection.
What I usually follow that early rise of IgG, high titer with a low titer IgM with NS1 positivity. Possibly we are dealing with
Yes,
a secondary.
that covers a bit more. But how do you define early, very early IgG rise? What is the cutoff of very early?
Usually around day 4 or day 5. If the IgG rise is earlier, usually before day 5 or just day 6, and NS1 is positive and IgG titer is more than the IgM, then possibly we are dealing with a secondary dengue. We need
one thing has been mentioned in the adult literature. It is not in pediatric literature. It is the IgM is to IgG ratio. They are measuring IgM is to IgG ratio, and that gives you some idea regarding whether it is an infection or it is a reinfection. Okay, but still,
Aniruddha, 2% of primary dengue can have severe dengue shock syndrome. It's not that always we need to have a second.
No.
And you cannot afford to miss a single child also.
No, never.
So all cases of dengue should be taken as serious.
Secondary dengue.
Whether it is primary or secondary, it really doesn't matter.
It is of theoretical importance, nothing else.
It is of theoretical importance.
Yes.
And that will confuse the residents more. So in the season of dengue, all patients with fever should be taken as dengue unless proved otherwise.
Yes, it's a clinical diagnosis.
Absolutely agree.
And when you advise a routine blood count and a NS1 antigen. See, suppose you are seeing the patient, and mostly you see the patient on day 2. You advise on day 3, and the report comes, and always advise a SGPT along with that. And my habit of advising CBC and SGPT, always, never ever miss this. You may it may diagnose lot many things. So always advise an SGPT. If your SGPT is raised, it might be turning towards typhoid. It might be dengue. Dengue there to beshi hobe. And then you manage the patient clinically.
আর এটা
low
পিসিবি
level
করা
of
উচিত
interest-
নাকি, রাইট? ইন দ্য
হ্যাঁ?
বিগিনিং পিসিবি,
হ্যাঁ, সিবিসি তো করছেন, সিবিসির মধ্যে আপনি পেয়ে যাবেন,
PCB এর মধ্যে তো আসছেই।
সিবিসির মধ্যে
PCB এর
আসছেই।
তো আসছেই। And SGPT, CBC and SGPT and NS1 antigen,
Right.
এই তিনটে জিনিস তোমাকে করতেই হবে। আর অনেকে আবার এলপি ডুয়াল অ্যান্টিজেনও করে। তোমার যদি মনে হয় যে because the cost is a factor,
Definitely.
medically you can just write MP, because that will give you a safeguard that yes, I advised MP.
Right.
If your dengue is negative, then you can think of, because malaria will give you time, but the dengue will not give you much time.
Right.
আর একটা থিওরিটিক্যাল জিনিস বলছি, অ্যাটাক রেট ইন প্রাইমারি ডেঙ্গু ইজ 1000:1, মানে আউট অফ 1000 ইনফেকশন 1 will develop the disease, and attack rate of secondary dengue is 100:1. Out of 100 infected, 1 will develop the disease. But the case fatality of this dengue, if it is managed properly, is very low, only 1 to 2%. And post dengue complication is also very low.
2%, we have managed 341 patients of dengue last year, and out of that it was only 1 death.
So
And
case
that
fatality rate is
death
low.
is causing a lot of problem for
Sir,
us.
two deaths, sir, two deaths.
2 deaths, সেটা তো
Two deaths.
thanks to whom? Thanks to whom? সেটা তো আমাদের ইন্টেনসিভ কেয়ার কে থ্যাঙ্কস।
একটা তো মরেই এসেছিল, আরেকটা অনিরুদ্ধর আমি একটা বলবো যে পেইন অ্যাবডোমেন ইন ডেঙ্গু, always take it as hypovolemia,
right, right, mesenteric ischemia
rather than gastritis. অনিরুদ্ধ তুই gastritis বললি, gastritis কিন্তু I don't know, it's not that common.
It is
hypovolemia that causes pain abdomen, and that causes the earliest leak. Pain abdomen,
because I don't want to confuse the residents. এটা গ্যাস্ট্রাইটিস হয়েছে, এটা একটু পেটে গ্যাস হয়েছে, ও পায়খানা পাস করেনি সেই জন্য হয়েছে, একটু ড্রটিং দিয়ে দিলাম, নেভার এভার।
dengue they don't do that.
It is a hypovolemia.
It is the earliest sign of leak.
আর ওইখানে স্যার
hypovolemia,
আর ওইখানে স্যার আপনার এসজিপিটিটাও হেল্প করবে, বিকজ ইসকেমিয়া দ্য লিভার এনজাইমস উইল অলসো রাইজ।
both SGPT SGOT দুটোই রাইজ করে, দুটোই
ওইখানে রেশিও। হ্যাঁ, তো ওই না স্যার বললেন যে কস্ট দিয়ে জন্য অ্যাট লিস্ট একটা এসজিপিটি, তো অ্যাট লিস্ট
এসজিওটি করে কোনো এক্সট্রা লাভ নেই এই ক্ষেত্রে। এসজিওটি খুব কম জায়গাতেই এসজিওটি করে লাভ হয়, একটা উইলসন ফিলসনে ওগুলো, বাট এসজিপিটি ইজ গুড এনাফ।
হ্যাঁ, সেটাই বললাম,
মানে মোর এই যে লিভার এনজাইম অ্যাবভ 1000 যে সাইন অফ সিভিয়ার ডেঙ্গু, it holds true both for SGPT SGOT, এটাই বলতে চাইছি। But you will always
both has been mentioned there.
Both has been mentioned, but it is the mainly who bears the brunt of the disease, which organ. It is first the liver, then come GI tract, then will come brain. But again, o bollo je dengue is not a neurotropic virus. Only in 1 or 2 cases the virus.
This is the long term debate we are having, sir.
The virus has been isolated.
এইখানে স্যার একটা জাস্ট অফ দ্য ট্র্যাক বলছি আর কি, এই ওটিপিটি আর কি, মানে ইম্পর্টেন্সটা এখানে পিটি এনাফ। মানে বেসিক্যালি আমরা অ্যাকিউট হেপাটাইটিসে দেখি যে পিটিটা বাড়ে, আর ক্রনিক লিভার ডিজিজে সাধারণত ওটিটা ক্রস করে পিটিকে। বাট দেয়ার আর কন্ডিশনস ওয়্যার ওটি ইজ মোর দ্যান পিটি ইভেন ইন অ্যাকিউট হেপাটাইটিস। তার মধ্যে একটা হচ্ছে ডেঙ্গি, একটা হচ্ছে উইলসনস, আর একটা হচ্ছে ইসকেমিক হেপাটাইটিস। তো সরি, ড্রাগ ইনডিউস। সো ড্রাগ ইনডিউস ইসকেমিক আর উইলসনস, এগুলোতে অ্যাকিউট হেপাটাইটিস হলেও ওটি রাইজেস মোর দ্যান পিটি।
ইসকেমিক হেপাটাইটিস কিসে হবে?
Shubhamayda, what about as you have mentioned, so I'm asking this question, but what about scrap typhus and enteric? There also we many times we find that SGOT is more than SGPT.
হ্যাঁ, এগুলোতেও অ্যানিকটেরিক হেপাটাইটিস হতে পারে, বাট এখানে তো এইখানেও বাট এনজাইম রাইজ উইল বি নট সো হাই লাইক ডেঙ্গি।
Definitely.
হ্যাঁ, ইসকেমিক হেপাটাইটিস, ওখানে হেপাটাইটিস হচ্ছে ডিউ টু ইনফ্লামেশন, আর এখানে হেপাটাইটিসের কারণ মেইনলি হচ্ছে ইসকেমিক ইনফেকশন, ইসকেমিয়া মেইনলি। এনজাইম রাইজ উইল বি ভেরি হাই, দ্যাট ইজ ইন 1000, ঠিক যেরকম ভাইরাল হেপাটাইটিসে হয়। ভাইরাল হেপাটাইটিস এ বা ইতে হেপাটাইটিস ভাইরাল ইনফেকশন।
ওকে, সোমনাথ দা, কোয়েশ্চেনস আছে কিছু বোধহয় না, কমেন্টস আছে কিছু?
না, চ্যাটে দেখো, চ্যাটেতে কিছু কোয়েশ্চেন এসেছে।
Hello, sir.
Acha.
Sir, Namaskar. I'm first year Anurag Mondal. I have a question regarding the pain abdomen in dengue. Is the reason the mesenteric vessel ischemia like it happens in nephrotic syndrome due to the high PCV, or is there some other reason?
The body always try to conserve the fluid for its most important and most vital organs. As a result, you have the circulatory cutoff in peripheral parts. One of the reason is that, and also as vasoconstriction goes on, and also the fluid is leaking out, so there is increased viscosity of the blood. These all together lead to the mesenteric ischemia. I think Shomaida might comment on that. Shomaida কিছু add করবে? Shomaida বোধহয় ইয়ে বন্ধ করে।
না এটাই this is the cause what you have said. It is
But
It's hypovolemia. It's hypovolemia.
hypovolemia is the earliest sign of leak starting, and it's the one of the most important sign of.
I just want to make a few comments that each and every year, usually the first year joins around the month of June or July, and after the first year joins, they bring dengue. And each and every year, most of the times, what we have seen that possibly one or two dengue that has been not properly picked up by the first aid, possible, not properly picked up. Either they had been discharged home from the emergency, or they had not been properly monitored in the pediatric ward. Something usually one or two dengue every year happened. Ultimately, everything came on PICU. Ultimately, we were able to save few, and we were not able to save few. So the first years. Please.
কিন্তু এই বছর কি ডেঙ্গু আছে? এই বছর তো নেই। আছে প্রচুর।
আছে।
পিআইসিউ তো ভেন্টিলেট হচ্ছে ডেঙ্গু এখন। কি বলছেন?
কিন্তু এই বছর মনে হচ্ছে না রিলেটিভলি
ছোটা ডেঙ্গু, তাও ছোটা ডেঙ্গু।
পিআইসিউ 8 মাসের ডেঙ্গু ভেন্টিলেটেড হচ্ছে।
ছোটা ডেঙ্গু।
না আগে এই 22 জুলাইতে তো মানে এটা মানে কোথায় চলে যেত?
স্যার
এবার ফ্লাডিংটা কম।
এখন মেইনলি
for last 3 or 4 years we are getting the peak on the September
October. If you see the no, if you go by the graph that I have showed you earlier, there also you can see যে দাঁড়াও আমি নিয়ে যাই ওটাতে এই দেখো if you see this graph you can also see that September, October, November, these are the most affected months.
There are few questions in the chat box.
না এইবার একটা কি সবাই বাড়িতে বসে আছে তো অবশ্যই ডেঙ্গু হচ্ছে
আরো কামড়াবে তো স্যার আরো কামড়াবে
ম্যাক্সিমাম ডেঙ্গু স্কুলে অ্যাকোয়ার করে ডেঙ্গু আনলাইক ম্যালেরিয়া নট দ্য নাইট টাইম প্যারাসিটিক মসকিটো
চ্যাট বক্সে কোয়েশ্চেন আছে
ডেঙ্গু bites occur in the school আচ্ছা this time that might be the reason you don't have that much I think
আচ্ছা আমি তাহলে চ্যাট বক্সে যাচ্ছি চ্যাট বক্সে okay and Dr. Shailendra Kumar Das, Dr. Nagendra Chaudhary need to think of the other causes of undifferentiated fever too, like chikungunya and scrap typhus. I have already mentioned the coexistence of other infections in dengue. If you live in Delhi, you might think about chikungunya, or if you
chikungunya miss korle kichu jay ashe na.
Yes.
Kichu jay ashe na, excepting one case of chikungunya যেটা প্রভাস আমার সাথে ইনভলভ ছিল where we had a macrophage activation hemophagocytosis EDF হসপিটালে বাট চিকেনগুনিয়া মিস করলেও তেমন কিছু যায় আসে না and it will give you some time আর স্ক্রাব টাইফাসও যদি আমার 3 দিনের জায়গায় 5 দিন হয় বিরাট কিছু যায় আসে না
স্ক্রাব টাইফাস তো আমরা স্যার ল্যাব ভ্যালুস গুলো অনেক আলাদা হবে we can মানে have a clue that কোনো সেপসিস আছে কিনা সেখানে আমরা স্ক্রাব টাইফাসের ওয়ার্কআপ তো করবই
তার একটা চিকেনগুনিয়া আউটব্রেক হয়েছিল না 10 বছর আগে নটিফোর পারগানাসে পড়েছিলাম
2009 এ ওই সময় তো
হ্যাঁ ক্যাম্পও হয়েছিল ওই সময়
সেই সময়টারই কেসটা আমাদের হয়েছিল বোধহয় আর যাই হোক আরেকটা জিনিস বলছি যে ফরগেট অ্যাবাউট তোমার আইবুপ্রুফেন ইন এনি ফিভার ডিউরিং দিস সিজন অফ ডেঙ্গু অর চিকেনগুনিয়া ব্যথায় মরে যাক তবু তুমি
প্যারাসিটামল ছাড়া কিছু দিও না
প্যারাসিটামল কিছু ছাড়া কিছু দিও না চিকেনগুনিয়ার ব্যথাতেও তুমি মরে গেলেও তুমি কিছু দেবে না
and dose of paracetamol is also not 15 milligram per kg per dose in dengue all the guidebooks they have mentioned that it is 10 milligram per kg per dose next question why secondary dengue is more deadly than primary cases contrary to other viral infections
কি বলে প্রোজন এফেক্ট না প্রোজন না কি বলে এটাকে নামটা কি প্রোজন
প্রোজন এফেক্ট বলে স্যার, I don't know.
হ্যাঁ
I don't
প্রোজন
really know
প্রোজন
whether
এফেক্ট বলে,
মানে
এটাতে সাইটোকাইন লিবারেশনটা অনেক বেশি হয়। এটা ইফ ইউর বডি ইজ ওয়ান্স মানে নোজ দ্য ইনফরমেশন, সাথে একটুখানি উইয়ার্ড সাইটোকাইন রেসপন্স হয়। প্রোজন না কি ফেনোমেনন বলে?
প্রোজন T
প্রোজন
lymphocytes, sensitized T lymphocyte, they give rise to cytokine tsunami much earlier and in much stronger way. That is the thing. But I don't know.
কি অরিজিনাল সিন না কি বলে একটা অরিজিনাল সিন?
প্রোজন ফেনোমেনন আমরা আইসিইউ তে বলি অনেক সময় হুক এফেক্ট।
হুক এফেক্ট না অরিজিনাল সিন না কি একটা বলে, যে আগে করেছো দোষ সেই জন্য তারপরে।
No, that the question has one second part which is very interesting, and I don't know the answer, which is contrary to other viral infections. He has mentioned why it is only seen in dengue and not in other viral infections.
Non-protective antibody তো একটা কারণ।
Non-protective antibody তো অনেক কিছু হয়।
Probably
এক্সাম্পল হচ্ছে টাইফয়েড। টাইফয়েডে তো অ্যান্টিবডি হয়।
If you go by the theory of pathogenesis, then the NS1 antigen is responsible for this fact, because the NS1 antigen is the main factor which interacts with your host T lymphocyte, which is not present in any other virus, even in any other flavivirus. This might be one of the causes.
আমার একটা কাজ আছে, আমি বেরোলাম। টাটা এভরিবডি।
আচ্ছা স্যার,
থ্যাংক ইউ ফর
হ্যাপি বার্থডে।
হ্যাঁ থ্যাংক ইউ
এনজয়
long life to
হ্যাঁ
you.
থ্যাংক ইউ। আর লং লাইফ।
স্যার আপনি এতে যাচ্ছেন কি, ডিনার করতে যাচ্ছেন কোথাও?
না ডিনার করতে কোন পাগল, বাড়িতে।
আজকে তো লকডাউন নয়, আজকে তো খোলা আছে।
না পাগল নাকি বাড়িতে?
ওকে, চ্যাট বক্সে
লিখে ভাই এটা যে স্যার ডিনার করতে গেলে যদি কর্নারও স্যারকে ডিনার করে দেয়।
টাটা এভরিবডি।
আচ্ছা অনিরুদ্ধ, আমাকে একটু বলতো ছোটা ডেঙ্গু বড়া ডেঙ্গু কি বলে, ওর কি এজ হিসেবে না অন্য কিছু?
ছোটা ডেঙ্গু and মোটা ডেঙ্গু, infantile dengue and obese dengue. These are the risk factors.
এই শোন, কি কোশ্চেনটা বলছিলি, NS1 এর কি ব্যাপারটা ছিল?
ও যেটা কোয়েশ্চেন করেছে সেটা হচ্ছে যে এটা একমাত্র ডেঙ্গিতেই কেন পাওয়া যায়, কেন আদার ভাইরাল ডিজিজে পাওয়া যায় না?
কোনটা?
এই যে সেকেন্ডারি হলে সিভিয়ারিটি বেশি হচ্ছে।
সেকেন্ডারি হলে সিভিয়ারিটি বেশি হচ্ছে, তো অনেকগুলো স্ট্রেইন থাকতে হবে না, অনেকগুলো স্ট্রেইন থাকতে হবে। একটাতে তোমার পার্শিয়াল ইমিউনিটি দিচ্ছে, পার্শিয়াল ইমিউনিটি ইজ মোর ডেঞ্জারাস, ইটস মোর ডেঞ্জারাস। মানে ধর তোর কোনো ইমিউনিটি নেই, তুই কারোর সাথে মারামারি করতে গেলি না, নো প্রবলেম। প্রবলেমটা হয় তোর হাফ স্ট্রেংথ আছে, তারপরে তুই মারামারি করতে গেলি, দেন ইজ দ্য রিঅ্যাকশন, তখনই তুই মারটা খাবি। That is the reason secondary dengue is more important, because you have a partial immunity. If there is no immunity, it's fine.
Okay, why the complications are more severe in child who had previous dengue infection and again has suffered from dengue? You have already answered. If the child has previous infection with one serotype and next time he has infection with other serotype, what is the natural course of the disease? It will be like your normal dengue infection depending upon the host immunity. Usually it behaves like a primary dengue, but sometimes it may also act like a secondary dengue. You never know.
এই জন্যই তো ভ্যাকসিনটা হচ্ছে না, কারণ ভ্যাকসিনটা হলে কি হবে, প্রাইমারি ইমিউনিটিটা হয়ে গেল, এবার সেকেন্ডারি ইনফেকশনটা হলেই তখন ওর প্রবলেম হয়ে যাবে।
And even
ভ্যাকসিনটা প্রবলেমটা।
Since you have mentioned, sir, in the vaccine trials also it has been seen that vaccinated persons, they are developing severe forms of dengue even after primary dengue infection. It behaves like a secondary dengue infection. That's why they are going very slow with the vaccine trials.
এই কোশ্চেনটা আমি উত্তর দেই। Sir, do everyone presenting with fever in emergency should be sent for dengue NS1, as it is difficult to diagnose dengue from clinical feature.
Please.
I agree. তোরা যেটা করবি, প্রেসক্রিপশনে লিখবি অ্যাডভাইস NS1 অ্যান্টিজেন, আর মুখে বলে দিবি আই নো ইটস ভেরি চিকি, কিন্তু মুখে বলবি যে ঠিক আছে এখন একটু দিন ওয়েট করুন, কালকে দেখা যাক কিরকম থাকে, কিন্তু লিখে দিবি যে হ্যাঁ আমরা ডেঙ্গু ভাবছি। ডাজন্ট ম্যাটার যে ওই নাহলে পেশেন্ট পার্টি এসে ঝামেলা করবে পরে।
স্যার যখন ঝামেলা করতে আসে তখন তো ওরা আইন দেখে না,
the practical
না দুটো জিনিস লিখে দেবে, অ্যাডভাইস অ্যাডমিশনটা যদি একটু জর্জারি দেখো, অ্যাডভাইস অ্যাডমিশন লিখে দেবে। পেশেন্ট পার্টি ভর্তি করলো না তাতে আমাদের কি যায় আসে?
আমরা এটাই আমরা রিলিজিয়াসলি ফলো করেছিলাম 2014 যখন আমরা ফার্স্ট ইয়ার পিজিটি ছিলাম, তখন এরকম ডেঙ্গি আউটব্রেক হয়েছিল। প্রত্যেকটা ফেব্রাইল পেশেন্টকে আমরা ডেঙ্গি NS1 অ্যাডভাইস অ্যাডমিশন লিখে তাদেরকে অ্যাডমিশন করার কথা বলতাম, এবং যদি রিফিউজ করতো ওখানে পেশেন্ট পার্টি রিফিউজড অ্যাডমিশন বলে আমরা সাইন করতাম, ওদের সাইন করাতাম। this might save your skin if you are doing a practice in park circus area.
স্যার এইখানে আমি একটা কোশ্চেন করছি স্যার, এই যে ওদেরকে সাইন করতে বলা, এটা তো অনেক সময় ওরা সাইন রিফিউজ করে, বলে না করবো না, তো এখানে মেডিকেল ইয়েটা কি হবে, মানে সাইন করানোটা কি এসেনশিয়াল না?
ইউজুয়ালি করে না শুভময়দা, ইউজুয়ালি সাইন করতে খুব একটা রিফিউজ করে না, ওদের তখন বক্তব্য দেয় আমরা বাড়ি নিয়ে যাও, अभी छोड़ दे, अभी आप लिख दीजिए, अभी घर लेके जाते हैं, आप साइन कर दीजिए, हाँ कर देंगे, করে দেয় ইউজুয়ালি ওই জায়গাটা ঝামেলা করে না।
কিছু কিছু ক্ষেত্রে বলে যে না আমি সই করবো না, সাইন করবো না, ভয় পায়, বা বাড়ির বাবা
আছে,
জ্যাঠা কাকা আছে, সাইন করবো না, এরকমও হয়।
আচ্ছা,
যাই হোক, খুব ভালো হয়েছে
স্যার। এই ব্যাপারটা কি তাহলে এখনো ফলো করব আমরা, এই মানে যে কোনো ফেব্রাইল পেশেন্ট, বিকজ দ্য সিজন ইজ কামিং, যে কোনো ফেব্রাইল পেশেন্ট উইল বি রাইট অ্যাডমিশন?
ফার্স্ট ডেঙ্গুটাই ঝামেলায় পড়ে, কোনটা যে ফার্স্ট ডেঙ্গু তুই বুঝতে পারবি না, লিখে তো রাখবি, তারপরে দেখা যাবে যা হয় হবে।
ওকে স্যার, ওকে।
অত পেশেন্ট পার্টির কথা চিন্তা করে অত বেশি লাভ নেই কিছু, তুমি লিখে রাখো, তারপরে দেখা যাবে।
রাত্রেবেলা এমার্জেন্সিতে যে এসছে সে একদিনে জ্বর নিয়ে এলেও তাকে অ্যাডমিশন লেখাটাই ভালো। সেখানে
জ্বর না হলে কেউ একটু সিরিয়াস না মনে করলে ওই ইমার্জেন্সিতে আসে,
हॉस्पिटल इमरजेंसी তে আসে না, একদম একদম। भूख नहीं लग रहा है,
भूख नहीं लग रहा 1 साल से।
থ্যাংক ইউ অনিরুদ্ধ, খুব ভালো হয়েছে, থ্যাংক ইউ, গুড নাইট।
থ্যাংক ইউ অনিরুদ্ধ, খুব ভালো হয়েছে, গুড নাইট।
থ্যাংক ইউ অনিরুদ্ধ, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
হ্যাঁ, গুড নাইট।
ঠিক আছে,
তোমরা তো আছো না, চলে গেছো।